What's up, Dev community? Welcome to another episode of Devs Like Us. I'm Clarence.
I'm JB.
I'm Terrence.
How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been a good week, making it, pushing through.
Okay, okay. How
G-Man.
about-
It's been one of those challenging dig deep weeks. It was a lot of things popped up out of nowhere, but gotta keep pushing, gotta keep going. This is going to make the weekend that much more of a celebration and an enjoyable time. So, but no complaints. So it's been solid. It's been solid.
Okay, okay. I also would like to mention, we had our first guest last episode, and hopefully
Whoop,
everybody had a
whoop.
chance to check that out. Dale definitely dropped some gems, and it was definitely a good conversation with a college friend, and just good to see, where he's at, and we appreciate him for joining us. So for today, we're switching things up a little bit, trying something new. So we get asked questions a lot. And this one particular question that we get quite often, we wanted to take some time out and address it on our podcast so we get our listeners a chance to kind of hear what our thoughts are. But the general question is formal education versus self-taught. And formal education could be, certifications, degrees, anything along that nature, versus like self-taught is kind of like you go out, you seek for the information yourself, and that you kind of build yourself up, you build yourself a guideline and kind of go follow from there. So kind of, guys, what's your thoughts on the differences between the two, which one's better, that kind of thing. But we can just start off with just general thoughts.
For me, general thoughts. Um, One, it's kind of a money game. For the formal education side of things, if you're going to that 4-year college or even that 2-year college and university, you're looking at quite a bit of money that's coming out. Granted, you can set that up to pay over time, but if you're going to attend someone's week-long workshop where you're learning a certain skill at a super fast pace, it's going to be a lot less money, but it's usually a lot less money that needs to be paid at one time. And so you're talking like $3,000, straight out of pocket for some of these workshops and things. And so it's all about, for me, your determination and your need to press on and your passion for the subject matter. Because if you don't have that determination, then with the workshop based, it's great for that week, but then the support is gone after that. Whereas when you go to a university or college, you have your peers around you that are constantly there throughout your classes that you're taking. And so you constantly have that support system as you grow. Yeah.
What about you, T-Man?
Yeah. So for me, I believe it depends. Each person is different.
Mhm.
Each each technical role, there's so many technical roles as well that doesn't require as much education in some pieces, or is a lot easier to do in a self-taught method. I believe it all can be achieved in a self-taught method. Some might just be a little bit harder than others, but for me, it's definitely, you have to look at your situation. There's so many factors. We have the affordability of college, or the potential of having that debt, or how do you want to approach that? And then there's a lot of things on the college end as well. You have the networking pieces that you have with college, friendships. You have all those relationships that you build, the additional coursework that aren't related to the field that are aimed at making you a better, well-rounded person. So there's a lot of different factors there. I've met a lot of great people that are leaders in the workplace, in the technical field, that are only have a high school degree. And so, and then I've met the same folks that have graduated with a bachelor's or master's or even a doctorate and are doing well in the field as well. So you can get there in many ways, and it's all to me, it's all about having a discipline. And the fun thing about it is, regardless of what path you take, you're going to have to do self-study at some point. You're not going to come out of college and just be ready to go. You're still going to have to do that self-study to make sure that you're polishing up your weak points, because we're all going to have weak points regardless of if we do self-study or if we go the college route. So this is an exciting topic. I'm excited to discuss it today.
Yeah, I think what you brought up right there is really good. You think about the lifelong learner. We're all in this field, especially, you're all lifelong learners. Because like I said, just kind of stay up ahead, stay abroad. You have to kind of keep yourself emerged in the topics, or just the general discussions that are going on in the new technologies or whatnot. I do agree that well, at least for me, I think it's dependent on where you are, kind of like what do you want to do. There are cases that you don't need the degree, but then there are some cases where you need the degree, or and sometimes the degree could be factored in by who's your influence at the current time. I know a lot of cases for folks that are in high school, they might have family members, cousins, friends that are kind of driving them to pursue higher education. But if they had a mentor in the technology field that might be able to kind of give them some pointers on the types of things to look up, types of programs that they can attend, where they kind of could take the a different approach to getting inside of the field. So yeah, it just depends on where you are, and kind of like what your where you want to go and kind of things that you want to do. So I guess to add on to that, or at least kind of a segue. So I know Terrence mentioned that he knows folks that have a degree and don't have a degree. Is it needed?
It depends. Depends on, like Terrence said, it depends on what role you're in. And now it's been seen that a lot of companies are kind of, starting to move towards the fact of, hey, not everyone needs a degree as long as they can, relay the information to me. Because like the way a lot of tech companies are doing their interviews now is they're giving you problems to solve. And so they want to know, if you can, how you think and how you solve this problem and how quickly you can solve a problem. And those things make a difference. And so there's plenty of different testing tools that are online to help you study for those type of coding practices and things. And so with that, I would say a degree is not really needed in that sense, because of the fact that if you know and understand a computer system inside and out, that's essentially all you need. Of course, there's algorithm understanding and things like that, but you could still learn those things on your own. Now, I say that to say on the flip side, the critical thinking skills that you gain in college and university, I think, is very beneficial.
It's
And
in your face for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
Self-study, you kind of got
and
to really work to challenge yourself
yeah,
and find those resources. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
and like I remember being an undergrad and being in my biology class, I'm like, I don't care about biology. Why do I have to be in this class? And my teacher, like, she's like, this is nothing but your critical thinking development at this point. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that makes sense. It's getting me to think outside the box of just computer science. And so that's the only thing that I really feel that someone without the formal education would be lacking. But you can kind of develop that throughout your interactions with other people as you learn and grow throughout the field. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there was also another study. It was a Stack Overflow study. Every year they do an annual study of like developers in the technical workforce. And I think let me double check. So for educational attainment, it was about 22% of folks that out of 86,000 subjects that took the survey, about 22% did not have any higher education past high school. So, and I think that's a rough estimate to you. I think it's more than that actually.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
if I was to take a guess, but it kind of gives you a rough estimate that and then there's a lot of people who have also who there were about 45% who actually had a bachelor's degree, but I do believe that there's probably a large subset of that 45% that did not probably have a degree in the area that they ended up working in, because there's a lot of people who have degrees from finance, other type of business degrees or arts. There's a lot of people that are art. There's a lot of people who are musicians too that end up being developers. I don't know. So there's, I mean, they do say developing.
I kind of get it, just because it's the way musicians think. When you're reading music and all those things, that to me translates pretty well into thinking about the bits, the bytes, and everything in that space. And so for me, I've seen quite a few different musicians who are developers. Like I have a guy in my office right now who's a trumpet player.
Nice.
And he's really good. He's like playing with the orchestra and things, but it helps him when he tries to incorporate as much as possible into his development. Right.
And so there's a large, like we were saying, like there's a large subset of that 45% who, in my eyes, it would be just like not having the formal education because they didn't take any classes related to computer science or any of the IT related fields. So there's that as well.
Just to add on, so I am pro education. I think it's a good route to go. Definitely, I'm glad that I went that route. But I will say, on the flip side, that I can really see, at least in some cases, where even in my own career, where I didn't need it. And so, when I was, I guess when I was in that kind of situation, it kind of made me kind of second guess, like, dang, was it really worth it? Because like, as you mentioned, JB, like when you think about, you're taking like biology or chemistries or histories and all these other classes that have no, real sense of connection. I mean, concept wise, yes, but like from a material standpoint, it's like no real connection. So it kind of, at certain times, even as you, walk through your education career, it's like, why am I doing this? And then, oh, go ahead.
How do you truly know that you didn't need it?
I think when you look back, I think now, I would say now, from what I know and what I've learned, at least in my own career, is that a lot of this stuff is just, it wasn't useful. I mean, it could have been useful if maybe I was somewhere else, but at the current position I'm at now, or just the current positions that I've been in, I didn't see much use out of it. But I guess what I was going,
just like subconsciously retain that information, and you're just using it.
And we all know we definitely left college as different people.
True.
Where would we have been if we weren't there, being around all of that knowledge and just that entire ecosystem? It's kind of hard to say, oh, I didn't need it. I used to say the same thing. But then I look back saying, and then it's not saying that we wouldn't be successful without it. I think we would be, especially knowing you all. You all would have found a way to be great in this field or something else.
Yeah, I guess JB would have let us hold on to our coattail.
Right, but yeah, to me, it's hard to tell. And I would also it would also be great if the audience or listeners would be able to get back to us and say, if you have not had any formal education in the technical field, let us know. What's your experience been like? How has it been? Let us know in the comments. You can hit us up on DM and Instagram and send us an email. We would love to hear, because I'm always interested. I know I've met people who have not, they never went to college for anything, and they're just awesome. And most of the big founders and techie people drop out of school.
For sure.
First year.
For sure.
So pros and cons, Clarence, can we talk about that next? What are the pros and cons of going being self-taught versus formal education? I think we kind of discussed it a little bit before, but what are the big pros from what that you all have believe you received by going to college? I guess that would be the easiest for us to start off with.
So I think the first, well, we kind of just mentioned it. You think about the connections of people that you meet, while you're on campus, like the growing relationships, the experience of dealing with different types of people. You think about, like, I know we talked about teamwork in a couple episodes back, but think about teamwork. Like, that was a good, experience to know, you're going to have some good teams, you're going to have some bad teams, and just kind of like, find your way of like, dealing with those. Cause I could say, some of the teams that I saw in college, I'm so thankful that I saw them because I already knew, how to respond to grown-ups. And, I stress that grown-ups, in the corporate world. But because of those situations and interactions, at the time it's like I just can't see why. But then, you get into the career field and you see like, oh, this is still a thing. I thought that was just, them going through a phase. But
I agree. Yeah, you definitely see a lot of different personalities going to
yes,
college. Just
yes,
you cross thousands of people every day, depending on the college size. But you definitely get all those personalities, and then you definitely do still see them in the workplace
yes,
acting exactly the same.
yes. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Not one bit. Just different people, different
Right.
Yeah.
individuals. Some cases.
So,
But
did we have any different pros for that one, JB?
Um, I would say another pro would be the fact of you have professors who have also worked in the fields that you're going into, and so they have connections that they can, pass along to you. They may have friends who work at such and such place, and if you have that good relationship with your professor, it may be, hey, I have this student, you should come talk to them, or vice versa. And then also, like we talked about a couple of episodes ago when we were talking about community conferences,
mhm.
uh, I I wholeheartedly believe it's a lot easier to get into conferences when you're in school, and that exposes you to a greater network than just your school's ecosystem. And so with that, you're expanding your network possibilities, and you're getting a chance to experience all these different companies and things while you're there. So like companies come to these conferences and you have the opportunity to sit down and talk with these people and learn about what they're doing. They get to learn a little bit about you, see if it's a good fit, and go from there. And so that's one big pro that I see coming from it.
You got a pro, Terrence?
Yes, for sure. I definitely think when you go to college, you have this makeshift real world. Don't get me wrong, depending on your home situation. Some people are in college, but they are definitely in the real world. But for
Hmm.
a good subset of those who are in college, you're kind of like, we're not going to just kick you out in the real world. It's kind of half foot still at home, depending on your home situation, and then kind of like this makeshift world where it's like this. We're going to try to act like you're fully grown up, but you're still getting support potentially. And I'm
True.
speaking to one experience. I know there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who are still like they're completely on their own in college, but
Yeah.
I
It's
do
kind of a
feel,
training wheel situation.
yeah, I do believe it's the training wheels. You do this step, this step, this step, this step, and then you'll go into the workforce. And then I feel like self-study or not going to college is, you're just in the jungle. You get like,
Yeah.
nobody's telling you where to go. Nobody's asking, really guiding you where to go. It's you're just out there, and you
Your
have to be
first bike is a mountain
disciplined.
bike.
Yeah, you have to have
Yeah.
all your tools and stuff ready. And for the folks who I know that are in the technical workforce, you talk to them, they have like they were in the military for
Mhm.
like an entire career, or they've had some
True.
other completely different career. They have like 4 or 5 different stories, and it's like, yeah, then I just decided to pick up programming, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
they switched over. They didn't just say, oh, I'm not gonna like not go to college. I'm just gonna go the non-traditional route and do self-taught programming
Yeah.
or development or in the technical field and just work my way up there. Normally, like they have really big stories of or they were on another path and then they ended up uh, doing this as a hobby and then picking it up full time and going professional. So
True.
Mhm.
True. True.
definitely that the training wheel situation for some folks.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
call it. It's like a big safety net. You get 4 years to kind of get a chance, 4 or however many years it takes. No, not to put a number on it, but it gives you a chance to kind of figure things out. At a even though with everything that's going on and life challenges, you still get a little bit of a chance to kind of actually plan out what you want to do, and just give you a better understanding of what all you're looking for, I think.
Yeah.
So, do we have any cons?
Cons to doing formal education.
If you don't do it
Money,
right, it can get really expensive.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
And if you don't do your
And sometimes
internships, you
even
cannot have a job potentially.
yeah. That could burn you.
um,
Do your
sometimes even if you do
internships.
it right, it can be expensive.
True.
Everyone has their own financial situations, and so that can get out of hand really fast. And it also depends on where you decide to go to school, because private school versus public universities and things. Those are the types of things that we have to think about when it comes to um, the money that has to be paid back later. What scholarships you get and how much scholarship money do you get? Those are also factors and things. Uh, you know, there are some people who are fortunate to have those full rides, and other people who are, like Daryl said last episode, working 3, 4 jobs to pay
Yeah.
through school, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
we
tough.
we can't shortchange him. That brother said he had 5.
He did. He said 5.
I was thinking 5. I was like 4 or 5, but it was like
It's hard
either
to
3 or
believe. He
4 was
definitely said
grad
5.
school. That's what it was. It was,
Sorry that she
it was
shortchanged you, Daryl, if you're listening. We heard you. I will say, just to kind of add to that, I think the biggest con is not taking full advantage of what you can get while you're doing formal education. As we mentioned earlier, the conferences, building a network, and that kind of thing. Like, those are super important in, you know, building characteristics that will last you for a lifetime, but also, really making long lasting kind of impressions for anybody. Because, one of the bigger things that they used to say all the time is that you never know who your future employer is. So, the same people that you could be joking and cutting up in class with, you could be hiring them or they could be hiring you. It just depends on how life works.
I don't know if I would have started a podcast show with anybody except you all.
Oh, well then,
oh,
wait,
If it
wait a
wasn't for
minute.
if it wasn't for
that's
college,
so
we wouldn't
special.
have this show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'd be trying to do it by myself.
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
No, oh, it's just me.
but, but no, but there are so many people that you see that are starting businesses, and they're starting those businesses with. It's like they go to college for that first semester or that year or 4 years, but a lot of them go in for like that first year. It's like, oh, I'm picking you.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's
Yep,
start this in our
they
part
already
time,
know at the beginning.
and then let's go start this business. It's there. It is. If you go into college with the mindset of I need to make powerful relationships now, like you
Yes.
definitely will get a lot more of your money's worth. I didn't really. I was kind of like didn't have as much time in college to do those things until grad school, but those are you really should go to college with a plan as of like I need to meet people, get involved in all the activities and things, even if it's related to the field or not. And it's such a rich experience. And that's why I'm really hoping that college, I know a lot of things are going on, like college is not, it's kind of getting a bad rep right now for some good reasons, because some areas people were kind of getting taken advantage of from a financial standpoint, in my opinion. But in overall, the experience is really good. I think that experience does make you a better overall person if you do it the right way. So I
Right.
do hope that that college is still a thing, and it's also more affordable in the future if we can come up with a way to make that happen. But yeah, I
Right.
definitely do think it's a rich experience, and if you approach it the right way, it can be powerful. I do want to know you guys' opinions on these boot camps there's so many boot camps.
Uh,
Have you all heard anybody in particular who has gone through a boot camp, or what have you been hearing? What's the word out there on the boot camps?
Um,
Those
most of what
prices are
I've
going
heard
up as
about,
well.
yes,
yeah,
those
yeah.
prices are. Oh
Those
wow. The Most of the people that I've like heard of doing the boot camps are people who are on YouTube and that I'm watching their videos. Just because from someone that's on the formal education side, I always want to know and understand how it is for someone who's on the other side of that coin. And
Mhm.
so a lot of them seem to like it, but I don't know if that's, just a put on for like, I already spent the money now and I'm in the career field and I like the career field, but that boot camp may or may not have been as, fun and exciting as they say it is. But that's as far as I've gotten on
We're
that.
racking up.
That
We're
side of
racking
things.
up episodes now. We
Yeah,
need somebody. If you're
yeah.
out there, you've been through a boot camp, hit us up. We'd love to have you on
Please
the
let us
show.
know.
Yes,
We
please,
need
please,
Yeah.
please.
somebody who's gone through who's self taught, and from self taught to the pros, and we need from boot camp to the pros. We need those two
Yes.
people to
Right.
hit
That's
us
true.
up.
Well, you know
Because
I think that brings up a good kind of segue though when you think about like the self-taught. So, picture this. You start off being self-taught, you get into a career field, you're doing something, you really like it, and boom, your company says they'll pay for you to get a degree. Now you don't even go in debt. You've
yeah,
kind of, got ahead of the curve because you already got the experience.
That
So you
happens
already
a
know.
lot.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And Google's doing that thing now too with their certs. And
Yeah, Google
yeah.
search, yeah.
have y'all heard the prices on those? We need to look that up too, because some of those are supposed to be affordable, or at least they're marketed as affordable.
Yeah, I always hear the commercial about the person who
And
goes
affordable
to.
is like 5.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just always hear the commercial where I can't remember the individual, but they're like, oh, I picked up Google search, and now I'm in I'm working as a system administrator or something like that. It's just like, well, that's
Yeah,
a quick turnaround, and I'm pretty sure it's affordable. I would think they would
yeah.
promote it if it's just as pricey as everything else.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And as a system
maybe
administrator,
like
that's a great first step. And you really do
yeah,
get a great understanding of the system. So from a computer science background, going in, system admins have taught me a lot. And
Yeah,
that's
yes,
really where a lot of times the theoretical, I'm just programming my code, not worrying about the system is running on as much. System admins have a lot of tricks, and it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife as far as getting in there and making sure like you understand how the kernel and all that stuff is running and stuff. So
right.
yeah.
that is a good
So
experience if you're able to get that without having to spend a whole bunch of money in education, because that's you learn a lot on the job. So
True.
yeah, the sysadmins in my job have been like a great resource. So I'm like, hey, look, this is what I'm trying to do. How can I do it? It's like, oh yeah, it's just this quick command. It's like, oh, that's it. Like I thought this was gonna, take me a while. So
the first time I've
definitely
even heard
beneficial in
about
that
cron
sense.
jobs, I was like, why
Yeah.
haven't I learned this? But there
It's
was
like,
no need
wait, so
for
I just
me to
go
use
into
it
this file
ever.
and just set a time and it just goes. Let's do it.
Probably one of my favorite little tools on
Yeah.
Linux. But
Yeah.
So, I know we've kind of covered a lot. Is there anything that we didn't talk about, anything that we didn't touch, um, that you all could think about?
I think that's it.
I think we need the listeners to respond and just
Yeah.
come on for another episode. We need people to interview for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I definitely think kind of getting another point of view, especially on the opposite side, and kind of seeing their success. How did it work out? And everybody's story is different. So what could have worked for one of us or them, it might not work out for everybody. But of course, just always remember we all have our own story and kind of our own path and that kind of thing.
I'm going to be looking. I'm gonna hit up Twitter, hit up all the different sites I can. Self-taught programmers, I need you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Boot camp
We're gonna
attendees,
find
I
them.
need you.
Gonna find them on the street. Are you self-taught? Self-taught?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we love the questions, so keep the questions coming. So this was
Yeah.
one of the questions that showed up a few times. So keep the questions coming.
Yeah, so you
Yes,
know,
please.
yes, for sure. Please comment, like, subscribe, uh, get on our, listen to us, see if it's something that you disagree with or agree with, let us know. We'll definitely,
Yeah.
respond and we like that dialogue. But I guess if did anybody who wants to close us out?
You
You.
I'm closing out.
Yeah, this
Okay,
this is
okay.
you
all you.
running
This
this
is your
whole
show.
show.
I'm running the whole show. Okay.
Whole show.
Well, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you. We hope that, what we provided or what we've, kind of discussed either helps you make a decision. Maybe someone who's, currently trying to make a decision. So, maybe this will be a good referral listen for them. But we thank you and appreciate you for joining us. And on that note, I'm Clarence.
JB.
And I'm Terrence.
And this is the community for you.